fans on because fucking hot. That's the way I look at it. But I do have a nice bottle of, not Lucozade this time, water. So no walking under the influence, talking under the influence, or whatever. Ah. But man, there is a lot to talk about. A lot to talk about. But I will give this, as usual, the starting 2 minutes just to let people come in, and then we'll get the show on the road. While I'm also at it, I will get my YouTube up as well. I think I'm fine for the moment, but obviously if I do get hot and bothered again, I will just turn that back on. But yeah, I hope everyone is doing well, more than anything. That's the most important thing right now. Just get this up real quick. No, I need to close a few bits and bobs as well, as I don't want their noise coming through at the moment. Right, there we go. And that'll also be important because there will be a good chance for me to use the chat menu to take out the trash and also put what I'm going to be doing afterwards, because I plan to be live streaming on Twitch after this. I'll be doing a little bit of Valheim. But I've given it 2 minutes. There's only a few people at the moment, but I'm sure that'll pick up over time. But where do I begin? I think we begin with little Miss Ash Sarkar. Yes, this silly mayor, as it were. The one who was starting to preach about, oh God, why isn't the mainstream media talking about how we're being threatened? Our free speech, our rights are being threatened. Yeah, well, this silly bint didn't think of that when Tommy Robinson was being locked up, or people like Lucy Connolly was being locked up, or people like Wayne O'Rourke was being locked up. No, none of that at all. She seemed about as caring for that lot as a laughing hyena. She only seems to be interested in talking about freedom of speech and the like when it's her rights that are being infringed. She is a prime example of pot kettle black. I didn't get attention. Someone wanted to. I bet I'm right. Well, it is what it is. That's the way I look at it. But I hope everyone's doing well, as I said. What's being spoken about? Well, first of all, foremost, I'm talking about Ash Sarkar. Then I will be talking about a few odds and sods that maybe I've talked about, as well as the island protests I'm planning to do. And of course, most importantly, everyone's favourite Prime Minister, in obvious sarcasm, Keir the traitor Starmer. So, Ash Sarkar is one of those silly people that they're perfectly fine with everyone else having their human rights infringed upon, but the moment hers start to get threatened, oh no, I don't want it to happen to me. I don't want my human rights taken away. Like, dude, you should have spoke up when the others are getting locked up. When Wayne was getting locked up, when Lucy was getting locked up, when Tommy Robinson was getting locked up, when YouTubers were getting locked up for free speech. That's the thing. You can't sit there and complain about your human rights if you're not willing to complain about other people having their human rights violated. Hell, Tommy Robinson would be fighting for your fucking case. He might hate your guts for all I know, Ash Sarkar, but I tell you what, he would have the balls, whether up here or down there, or in my case both, to actually fight for your human rights, to be able to speak the truth, or the lack thereof in your case. He would have the guts to be able to say, you know what, I may hate my opposition, but you know what, they have the right to make themselves look stupid, like you are right now, Ash Sarkar. That's the thing. Whether Tommy Robinson's a plonker or not to you doesn't change the fact that he would fight for your human rights. He would fight for your free speech. But you're only interested in your own, Ash. It's disgusting. It's reprehensible. It's disappointing more than anything, because it just shows how inconsiderate you are for anyone else. You're a selfish cow, Sarkar, who's only capable of thinking about themselves. Let me be clear on this. While there is in some cases nothing wrong with being selfish, sometimes you have to be selfish. Her type of selfishness, though, is something I think we can all make do without, quite frankly. Now, next one. Oh, no, not you, Christine. Fuck no. Fuck no. No, this is Ash Sarkar we're talking about. Unless you want to make a confession about your name, but I doubt that's the case. Anyway, let's move on to what's been happening over in Ireland, of course, because we all obviously know about Ballymena, or in my case, how I've sometimes called it ballerina. Shush. But I've sometimes called it ballerina, yes, but Ballymena has had its fair share of riots. We've seen riots all across Ireland. We've seen protests all across Ireland. And what sickens me more than anything is seeing all those PSNI commissioners and spokespeople and people with about as much brains as a dead squirrel trying to say, oh, it's sectarian violence and far-right thuggery and the like. No, it isn't. None of this has been any sort of thuggery or sectarian violence. If anything, what this is they are engaging in sectarian suppression. They were suppressing the indigenous Irish people from being able to speak out about the problem about open borders, about the problem of letting in half the third world, of allowing illegals to stay in hotels and have the ability to essentially... You didn't have to do that for me. Thank you, Yardy, for the £20 super chat. Christ is king. Fair play. Fair play. I do believe in the Christian heritage. I will say that much. But I don't want to say too much more on it, because I know what's going to happen. I'm going to get into a fucking heated argument about Christianity. But anyway, what it is the establishment have been doing everything they can to suppress the people. Just like we're being suppressed here in the United Kingdom. The police, the government, the media, they all don't want to accept the fact that what this all boils down to, and this is going to be a cold, bitter truth for them to swallow, but swallow that bitter pill, you most definitely will, is you have only got yourselves to blame for it. This is an actions meet consequences scenario. No, it's all right, Christine, don't worry about it. But this is all actions meet consequences, or in this case, the lack of actions meet consequences. What we've been seeing over in Ireland is continual frustrations building over the Irish community, realizing that they effectively are losing their country. They're losing their liberties. They're losing their towns and cities to illegal immigrants and foreign invaders who do not wish to integrate, whether it be with the English community or the Irish community. They are more interested in domination, in taking control of said countries. And it needs to stop. I've said this before and I'll say it again. What did I say in the past about if a civil war or a violent revolution comes out? What happens if people are ignored? If people are persecuted, the wrong people, while the criminals get to run amok? If violent revolution or civil war breaks out, you only got yourselves to blame. I have said that repeatedly. That doesn't mean I want it. That doesn't mean I'll advocate for it. That doesn't mean I think they're right to riot, because I know there are some people who are, whether sarcastically or not, they're saying, oh, you want it all to kick off. No, I fucking don't. I don't want us to go down the route of, well, basically being primitive, of following a caveman-esque approach to things, of bash on head until dead or something like that. I want this to be resolved peacefully, though I've said many times before, I think the truth is, we're probably not going to get that peaceful result. What's that? Yeah, stuck to your guns. Yeah. And that's the thing. The sad truth is, we've all had to make choices in our life. Some of us have had to go against the grain, as it were. Or in my case, the chocolate bar. Anyway, most of us have had to go against the grain. And sometimes that's including our family, unfortunately. You didn't see that. Anyway, hello, Thomas. Hope you're well. The way I see it is some of these people who were effectively shunned by some of their members of the community, and some of us who were shunned by some of our own families and communities, we're all turning out to be correct. We're all turning out to actually have at least a partial truth, if not the whole truth, coming out right now. What we're seeing is an Irish revolution. We see a revolution that is going to take Ireland by storm, and it is probably going to set the precedent. Don't worry, I can see you, Jay. I'm not ignoring you. I'm just focusing, that's all. But we're seeing a revolution that is going to be a cornerstone for them and for us. Because if Keir the traitor Starmer doesn't actually start doing well by the English people, it's going to kick off here as well. Just like that. And then the only people they'll be able to blame, it won't be the Tories, it won't be the far right, it won't be Auntie Ethel from the fucking Ethel Tipple court or whatever. No, it'll be him. He will only have himself to blame, because he was willing to put civil war over civil peace. He was more interested in keeping himself in his position of power. Nice to see you, First Tribes. That's the way you've got to look at it. Keir the traitor Starmer has had every chance to resolve all this and do good by the people. He has done just about everything he fucking could completely wrong. Done everything he can to go against the English people, or British people, or whatever you want to call it. And I know I'll probably get some kind of bollocking for that, but hey-oh, it is what it is. Fucking sue me. But he has had the opportunity to make amends, close the borders, stop putting our elderly in danger, house our veterans rather than the illegals. Basically, do his job. And he has not done his job at all. He's been about supportive of this country as a straw I-beam. And probably one on fire at that, I would probably say. He hasn't got a fucking clue how to run the country. Or he doesn't want to do good by the people. He'd rather look after himself and BlackRock and the WEF and try to sign us up to the unelected bureaucrats in Brussels. Although I know at one point I did cover the story that basically the high courts actually have blocked any attempt for him to sign us back up to the European Union. So at least that's one good thing we've got going for us. Driving, that's fair enough. Nice to see you. Hope you're well. But the bottom line as far as the Irish riots are concerned, they've been doing this more than we have. They've been doing it a lot more than what we've done. And as I said, I would never advocate for that shit. What I will say, however, is that the Irish people have my complete support. Because at the end of the day, they at least try to do this by the book. They at least tried to do this peacefully before they vented their frustration. That's the way I look at it. They've tried to be reasonable. Are you of the belief that powers that be want violence? Yes, I am. Sorry, I missed that question. I do think they want violence. I think Keir, the traitor Starmer, wants violence because at the end of the day, he wants that so he can get more authoritarian and get more draconian laws put in place. He is doing everything he can to provoke us, to stop us, to persecute us. And I don't know where your question was on Trump. It is in here, isn't it? Just trying to look and I can't see it. No, I don't see any question regarding Trump, but I'll talk about that later. Right now, the way I see it is they do have my support, the Irish people. I do hope that they get the result they deserve. Namely, the Irish government finally sees that thing that we seem to have less of these days called common sense and actually decides to temporarily, if nothing else, close the fucking borders. If he does it, if the government does it, at least then it will smooth things over, if nothing else. It may not solve the problems completely, but it will act as a goodwill gesture, if you will, to say, I completely understand, we get it, you're frustrated, we're going to do this and we're going to review this. That's what a real government would have done. That is what a real government, if they had the guts, would have actually done. But we know these guys don't have a lot of guts, quite frankly. All they have is a lot of treachery and a lot of deceit. And I'm personally a cat person, to be honest. Violence work for the IRA and Islam, no others, no surrender to all traitors. I mean, you have a valid point. Islam resorted to violence. They've taken over Iran. They took over Egypt. They took over Syria recently. And right now, the only reason Islam is not trying that shit here is because there isn't enough of them. Right now, I think they're like 6% of the UK population. What do you think is going to happen when that reaches 20%, 30%, 40%? Perish the thought. Because right now, what the left fail to understand is, while we all mention about the problems with Islam and how they think us all as Islamophobic, is you have to bear in mind, they're responsible for a lot of the rape gangs, and they're only 6% of the community. Imagine if that number was higher. It wouldn't be 84%. It would be probably along the lines of like 90, 95%. But of course, the mainstream media won't tell you this. You know the drill, folks, because say it with me. It doesn't suit the narrative. They will never admit that. They know full well we've been speaking the truth on that shit. And hell, the 84% statistic wasn't even from the indigenous English people. It was from a Muslim think tank. It was from Quilliam, for God's sake. That's what they don't understand. We understand. We get it. We understand why Islam is doing this. It's because they're a conquering religion, not a peaceful religion. I've said this time and time again. What did I say? If Islam is a religion of peace, why is there no peace in the Middle East? There's a question for you. All you need to do is say that question about any ponce that comes along and says Islam is a religion of peace, and you can debunk their arguments just like that. The leftoids don't have anything. They want to talk about the economy. I can think of a whole number of things that would do the world of good as far as the economy is concerned. Deport illegal immigrants, remove foreign criminals, stop the illegals from being housed in our hotels and instead use them for homeless veterans. That's just to name 3 things you could do, and that would save you a boatload of money because we'd have less people in the country, we'd have less people causing damage to our country, and our veterans who are sleeping homeless would at least have somewhere to live. That's just 3 things. If I wanted to spend all day talking about the economic things that we could do, well, I'd be here until probably 4 o'clock in the fucking morning. But frankly, I do want to do my live streaming, so unfortunately you won't be getting that long, unfortunately. But the point on this that I'm trying to make is all those lefties and those champagne-sipping wankers, they don't understand a lot of the problems with the economy also coming from the third world are coming from the foreign invaders. But they will never admit that. They can never take responsibility. I know I sometimes joke about I will never say I'm overweight because that would mean I'd have to take responsibility. I know I'm overweight. I know that for a fact. But I'm saying it as a joke more than anything. But I know I'm responsible for how I look right now. I know I'm responsible for me being in this place right now. Though I suppose devil's advocate for that one, I suppose my mum would have kicked me out sooner or later. I was just trying to save my money for as long as possible. But, yeah. And quite right, Terry. Rupert Lowe and Jim Annister. Two of the few people actually willing to have that conversation. Losing weight, though. Do I look like I'm losing weight? I guess I could look like that. I could lie and say I have, but I probably haven't in reality. I know the HelloFresh was keeping me from ordering the takeaways and what have you. Oh, speaking of takeaways, what about that little crackdown on Deliveroo and Uber Eats and Just Eat, the cyclist delivery drivers and all that? I'll be watching you to tell the grasses. I mean, I'm a permanent employee right now. So if they dismiss me for my political views, well, they would be breaching my rights, number one. And number two, even if they succeeded in dismissing me, they'd be getting the exact same treatment that the other 2 companies got that I named and shamed. That's something for you. I'll probably bring that up actually while I'm at it, so you can watch that. It's got 2,700 views, so it's actually gotten a lot of traction compared to a substantial number of my videos on the channel, quite frankly. So, yeah, never showed up. Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's not so much that I'm worried about. It's the fact that there seems to be, or there was, an investigation that went on by one of these MPs. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but it turns out that some of these people were actually, they were part of the illegals that were coming in, getting into the hotels, and basically getting free jobs from there without any need to worry. I hope that's the right video. Yes, it is. So if anyone wants to check out the last video of me naming and shaming the 2 companies that dismissed me for my political views, it's in the description. Oh, sorry, not the description. It's in the chat below. So feel free to have a look at that. But the way I look at it is, why is it these illegals get the red carpet treatment where no passport should mean they fuck off back to wherever they came from? That's the way I look at it. Like, if I tried to enter the United Kingdom without my English passport, I'd be kicked out. Like that. But these guys are so brazen, they take their passports and they rip them up. And yes, this is one of those fucking EU ones, unfortunately. That's the thing that sucks more than anything. But it is what it is. Maybe one day I'll get myself a blue one. A proper English passport. Not one of these unelected bureaucrats ones. But anyway, these illegals will end up ripping up their passports and then come in and say, I lost my passport. Like, fuck you did. I mean, especially so for the ones that were filmed doing that, they should end up getting sent straight back without hesitation. Hello, Emma. They should be sent back without hesitation. They were stupid enough to record themselves doing it, so they should automatically be barred from the country. Put them on a blacklist, never allow them back. Likewise, all the other people who came in without passports, they also need to be deported. Any criminals that come over here and commit crimes in the United Kingdom, they need to be deported. We are sick and tired of us paying through the nose for illegal immigrants that, one, have no legal or human right to be here, two, refuse to integrate and respect our society, and three, or three, depending upon which way you look at it, they come along and they commit crimes against our people. They should be gone. I think I've said hello to you, Paranormal. I don't know why it just keeps saying say hi. Anyway, the way I look at it, Nick Tenconi would soon show these guys the fucking door. Because it's not guys and girls. It's not women and children. Granted, you may find the odd boat of women and children. And that's the thing. When it came down to the migrant crisis, as they called it, they were trying to preach to us about, think of the children. Don't you want to see the children safe and sound? But there are no women and children. They're humans too. Well, here's the thing, Jasper. I have absolutely no problem with people coming over to this country if they pay taxes, they respect our cultures, they respect our laws, and they're willing to contribute. I have absolutely no problem with people, whether they come from France or whether they come from Yemen or whether they come from whatever fucking kingdom utopia they've come from. I believe... Oh, I see now. Racism, bigotry. Is that what it is? Oh, please give me another reason just to take out the trash, please. Make my day. Please. I've literally got my finger hovering over this right now. Just give me a reason. It's not racism, bud, to want control of your borders. It's not racism to want to protect your people. It is not racism to want to stop the parasites of a certain world from coming into the country. That's the thing. If these people were all reasonable, were all considerate, all respectful, and willing to contribute, which I don't think is unreasonable. I mean, does anyone else in my chat think that I'm being unreasonable to ask people to be respectful and respect our cultures and society and be tolerant? Just like the be kind lot, like you, Jasper. You lot want us to be kind. You refer to yourselves as the be kind mob. But here's the thing. There are people who I will call parasites. There are people who I will call criminals because they have a track record of it. The Albanians are a prime example of it. They often get themselves involved in the drug trade. That's the thing. This isn't stuff that I refer to as, oh, I'm just being racist and a bigot and blah, blah, blah. No. This is what we've seen over time of allowing these people in. That's the way I slice it. And thank you, Mario, for the £2 there. I appreciate you contributing. But that's the way I see it. I've got absolutely no problem. I've absolutely no problem with people that want to come over here and respect our cultures, societies, and beliefs. Let me reverse the roles here. Let's say I wanted to go over to, I don't know, Morocco. Let's just say, for the sakes of argument, I want to go to Morocco and I want to sit over there and I just want to sponge off the system and not contribute to society and what have you. Do you think that people would tolerate that? Do you think they would want me to sit in their country and contribute nothing? I don't think so, personally. I think if they saw me sponging, I'd be out of there, just like that. They would want me to contribute, respect their beliefs, or better still, how they like it if I went over to fucking South Africa, or if I were to go to, where is it? India, and say, I demand everyone convert to Christianity. They'd kick my ass around the park and then some for that. That's the thing. I don't go preaching what I believe. I don't go preaching what I want others to do to conform to my beliefs. That's the thing. You want to sit there and put the argument of racism down. Why don't we talk about the white farmers in Africa who often get hunted for sport by the black Africans down there? Nobody ever wants to talk about that, it seems. Nobody ever wants to talk about how people end up getting butchered in Africa just for being white. But they want to preach, oh, look at all this intolerance towards us, when it's the other way round, when we're not even remotely doing that. That's the thing. I don't have time for pompous NPCs that have about as much substance as a single shot of malt. Get out if you don't have anything decent to contribute. It's as simple as that. And what it comes down to is, as I said, it's not my views and my societal values I want them to contribute or conform to. It's the country. And just like we expect people to conform to our values and our views and all that, or at least respect them if they don't want to. They need to respect what we're doing and then contribute to our society. If you don't like it, don't let the door hit you on the way out. Because I'll tell you right now, it'd be exactly the same if I went to Morocco or fucking India or South Africa or whatever, and I started being a public nuisance. They would take out the trash, metaphorically speaking. Why should we be any different? Please, enlighten me. But I've spoken enough about that. Obviously, I've spoken a bit about Keir the traitor Starmer as well, but I think this potential general election could be good or bad news, to be honest. That's the way I look at it. I think it could be a good thing, it could be a bad thing. Because the way I look at it, I have said before, I'm not a fan of reform anymore because of all the backstabbing and the lying and the slandering that they've done. I don't like the fact that they have willingly and maliciously attacked Tommy Robinson and slandered him by saying he was a woman beater. And here's the thing, and I'll be devil's advocate for a moment here. I understand why Farage is doing it. It's because he needs to be seen as playing the game. He is doing this because he wants to be seen in the eyes of the oligarchy as conforming to their will. I understand that completely. Here's the thing, though. You could leave the slander at the door. Like, if you don't want to have Tommy Robinson in your party, which he never even asked for to begin with, that's fine. If you don't like the way he handles things, again, that's absolutely fine. I don't mind if he has a problem with me and doesn't want me joining Reform. I've joined UKIP, let me be clear on that shit. Like, I've already joined that, so there you go. But I wouldn't mind if he didn't like the way I was doing things, and therefore he didn't want me in the party. But what you can't do is then go out of your way to make false, spurious claims about people. That would be like if I were to go out of my way and say Zia Yusuf is a paedophile. Obviously, I know it's not true. But if I went and started preaching it out with a fucking megaphone in the middle of Market Square in the United Kingdom, in Norwich, fucking United Kingdom, Jesus. Oh, dearie me. But if I was doing that in Norwich, I would expect a letter to come through my mailbox saying, retract your statements, or I will see you in court. That's the thing. Nigel El-Faraji should have had the decency not to lie about Tommy. They should have had the decency to not say Tommy is a wife beater when he knows full well it's not true. Exactly, Yardy. If he's nothing to say, or rather, if he only has spurious lies to say, don't say anything. That's the thing. I don't particularly like Zia Yusuf, but I'm not going to go out of my way to slander them. Well, that's what everyone wants to comment. Yeah, that's another way to look at it. I'll get to that in a moment. But Reform, they say they're going to be the party for change. They say they're going to be doing mass deportations. They say that they're going to take a tough stance and all this other shit. They say what we want to hear, but the truth is they don't believe that themselves. Think about it. Nigel Farage basically said this stuff at the last moment to secure votes. That's why he did it back in the you're welcome, Paranormal. That's why he said it in the first place, because he knew full well if he didn't say in those general elections, I will start mass deportations, I think we need to deal with this, that, and the other, I don't think he would have gotten some of those seats, quite frankly. And I don't think he would have gotten the support that he currently has. Now, whether or not he deserves that support is down to subjective opinion. But what I will say is that Nigel has got a lot to answer for as far as slandering the core voters that voted for him back in 2024, back in the march on the 27th of July that Tommy Robinson did, where he effectively exposed the treachery going on with our establishment, how they basically were persecuting a man like Tommy and the state with its two-tier policing, its two-tier justice, the fact that it wanted to protect a known compulsive liar in the name of Jamal Higazi, who had knocked somebody unconscious, who hit a girl in the back with a hockey stick, that went out of his way to stab a person in the hand with a compass. Like, that's why they're going after Tommy more than anything. The establishment, that is. It's because they know full well he's the biggest threat to them right now. Why else do you think they wanted him to take down that video? 167 million views. And I believe I still have someone's tweet, which I've actually got the film that's up there, because, as I said before, they may have said that Tommy Robinson is not allowed to have that film up, the Silence documentary, but he said absolutely nothing about us doing it. That's the way I look at it. I think I'm almost there. Yes, so I am going to put this. Oh, no, my fucking control's stuck. Dude! Oh my god, my control button's fucking stuck. I've got it unstuck now, but bear with me. On my Twitter there, which will be linked in the chat now, I have got pinned as my top comment or top tweet or whatever. I've got the documentary Silenced up now, which was originally posted by Q71 on April the 28th. And that film is basically there so that we can remind ourselves just what the government tried to suppress, what the justice system tried to suppress. They cannot suppress the truth anymore. Not when we're spreading it far and fucking wide. So I would recommend people watch it, download it, retweet it, and make sure that that reaches the people, because we need them to understand exactly what they have done. We must make sure this never disappears from the internet. They think they won when they had Tommy Robinson delete it. But they were way too fucking late for that shit. That horse didn't just bolt. That horse bolted, went to the chip shop, had a fish and chips, and came back into the gate and then bolted out again. They can't stop this. They can't stop this from being shared. They've got no hope of that. Especially when I will also stand in defiance and I will have that tweet on my profile, and I will make sure that people, what the first thing they see when they come to my profile on Twitter is that fucking documentary. Keir the traitor Starmer is never going to be rid of the truth. Never. The same treacherous Prime Minister that wants to basically go out of their way to wage war with Ukraine, but doesn't want Trump to stop World War III. That's the way I look at it. As far as the welfare cuts, I don't know enough about them to make a conscious decision on how bad they are, although I would assume it's only a bad thing that they're making welfare cuts, because it means more people who actually need the state's help are now not going to get it, if I am understanding it correctly. But the bottom line is this. Ireland should be a very big symbol of what's to come. It should be a very clear indicator of what is going to happen in the United Kingdom. People falsely hold on for hope that we'll be able to vote our way out of this. They cling to the hope that reform will be able to save us. Reform may be a short-term solution, but it's like taking a plaster to an arm that's already cut off. You don't need a plaster for that. You need a full fucking bandage. You need a fucking, what's the word, tourniquet for that bitch. You need to stop the bleeding. You need to stop the person, or in this case, the United Kingdom, from bleeding out. You would not take a half-hearted measure to ensure the security of your home. So why take a half-hearted measure to secure your country? If we could solve this peacefully, I 100% would be behind that. And to be fair, I still want it to end peacefully, quite frankly. Freedom Dad being on the ground for us. Yeah, I know that. I've seen a few of his videos, a bit of the, I can't even get the words out. Nearly had a stroke. I suppose that was going to happen after 45 minutes. But I have seen a few of his videos over the week. So I understand he's trying to fight the good fight. And I don't think enough credit is given to that man, quite frankly. I really don't. I think he deserves a lot more credit than what he's actually been given. And hello, Lodger. Hope you're doing well. coming up to the tail end of the stream more than anything, because I have got to get ready to stream Valheim over on Twitch, which, if I can actually get that up myself, I will link that in the description below as well. Also, the chat, I've actually done 2 slashes there. That should be it. If it ever fucking loads. It's not cooperating. Yeah, that's definitely the one. Right, so in about 15 minutes, I'll be over on Twitch. Only thing I'll say is no politics on Twitch. Save the politics for here on YouTube, because YouTube is the political platform. Twitch is where I go to play my games and have a good time and have a laugh and what have you. But oh yes, that was something. Thank you for reminding me. That was one last thing I need to talk about before I go. Twitch is more of a gaming platform, so don't worry too much, Mario. As said, Twitch is more of a to stop strokes. It's ironic you said that, because in one of the videos I was going to post, I actually drunk Lucozade, and then within seconds I had one of my famous strokes. So there you go, make of that what you will. Anyway, Alex Belfield. I know I've made some negative remarks about him in the past, because he was guilty of simple stalking. He wasn't guilty of anything like extremely heinous. Do I think he should have been sent to prison for 5.5 years? No, I don't. I think at the absolute most, he should have had half that time. Probably not even. I do remember that Alex was one of the main people I looked at as far as the scamdemic was concerned. I do accept that. And he was absolutely right on that. But he has a certain way with words that sometimes offends even me. And it's pretty difficult to offend me, let me tell you. Like, he's not my absolute cup of tea anymore. But even someone like him did not deserve to be locked up for 5.5 years. Especially when you factor in that you have child rapists, you have the rape gangs, you have people going around violating kids who go out of their way to do this thing, and they get community service or completely spared jail or whatever. It's sickening. It's disgusting. And people wonder why. People wonder why I have a problem with the justice system. Why people are saying 2-tier justice. And why I sometimes sing the tune, this is the 2-tier policing society. You know, because at the end of the day, that is what we live in right now. We live in a 2-tier police and 2-tier justice society. Watch out now, they're coming for you. They'll release all the killers of the rapists too. And all that stuff. Are you there for the 13th? That's a tentative one, more than anything. I hopefully should be able to save up enough cash now that I've cancelled HelloFresh, so touch wood. It's looking more likely I will be there than not, but I'm not going to fully commit to that yet. So please bear that in mind. But isn't that the freedom of speech rally? I mean, the way I look at it, that protest, rally, whatever you want to call it, I think that really is the last chance that we've got. If we can't end it on that, if we can't end it peacefully on that, I can't see any other way this is going to end than in a civil war. And when it happens, as I said before, Keir the traitor Starmer will only have himself to blame. It's as simple as that. Could end up London with certain religion mayor. Yeah, I know. It's an absolute disaster. It is disgusting to think about it. Thinking that all our great cities, all our great nations are being destroyed by Islamists, by terrorists, by plasticine action. the prescribed terrorist group. But we'll talk about Plasticine action a bit more another time. The final note on Alex Belfield. As much as I may not be a fan of him at the moment, I do think that he shouldn't have been locked up for 5.5 years. I think the sentence is completely disproportionate. So I don't see why, if they can sentence Alex to 5.5 years, why can't they do a much harsher sentence for the people that are violating our kids? Personally, if it was down to me, if somebody goes around and rapes women and children and what have you, cut their dick off, quite frankly. Cut it off. Cut their bits off. Haul them into a jail cell until a deportation can be issued, and take out the trash. Simple as that. We don't want them here. We don't want these maggots here. And I think I've spoken enough. So I've got to go and get another drink. I've got to prepare to do Valheim. As said, it'll be in my chat messages if you want to go on Twitch. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video more than anything. Thank you for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure, as always. I thank you for the super chats. I probably don't deserve them, truth be told, but I appreciate you providing the support. And I will say this, and that is, before you all go, no matter how much money I'm given, whether it's 10 pence or £1,000,000, I will still do these videos. Because I'm not going to be one of those people who's like, I'll only do videos for money. Not going to happen. Principles, my friends. Principles. I'll thank you one last time for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye for now.